Wait, hold
It's
on.
live already?
Is it public?
Yeah, I think so. Hola, everybody. Uh, we hit the go live button a few minutes early. Um, so here I am. It's Illuminostic in the Amazon rainforest, um, surrounded by people eating dinner. So we'll have to be quiet and we'll have to be quick. I want to thank Felix, Michael, and Pakanoy for becoming patrons. Um, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about the Eco Lodge where we're staying. Let me just find the. I like to be able to watch. I'm not seeing. Maybe she sent it on Facebook. There we go. Okay. I want to tell you guys a little bit about the Eco Lodge where we're staying because it is super interesting. Uh, the woman who seems to be in charge it's a Kichwa community in Misahwali is where we are, Misahwai in Spanish, near Tena, Ecuador. And so it's predominantly Kichwa people. Um, and so we are staying at Sinchi Warmi, which was founded 15 years ago by a group of 12 Kichwa women. And misogyny is a very big problem here in Latin America. I've even heard people say that, in this country, women are like property. And so I've also, seen comments in some of my videos saying that in the indigenous communities, the women are on equal footing with the men. And like, is that a fucking joke? Because it's not true. It may have been true before the influence of Mr. Jesus. And we'll get to that for sure. But the story is that these 12 women decided that they were going to create a community. And the boss, I guess, the at least the person we've been communicating with the most, she left the jungle at age 10. So she actually was, fully indigenous, living traditionally until the age of 10. And she said something to us that really struck a chord with me. If you guys follow my channel, you know how I feel about Mr. Jesus. Not a big fan of Christianity. And what she told us really accentuated the reasons that I am not such a big fan. And basically she said, in my culture, we don't talk about sex or relationships or any of that kind of stuff. And so she became pregnant at age 15 because she didn't know that that sex led to babies. And so the reality is that it's not their culture. It's the influence of Christianity that resulted in that teenage pregnancy. And so what I realized is that the influence of Christianity actually has influenced the people's perception of their own culture. It's not that their culture was old-fashioned or primitive or out of sync. It is the influence of Catholicism and Christianity that is even causing some of the disconnection with the traditional culture that they're now perceiving as traditional culture, but it's actually just the influence of Christianity. So that's a bit of a diversion, but I do think it's important because this is something that I feel like somehow we have to try to address and fight, right? This corrosive influence of European religion. Well, it's not even European, but you know what I mean. But the empowering and positive side of the story is that the very misogynistic culture here told them that, women cannot succeed at this. Everyone told them they were going to fail. And so here we are 15 years later. The property is absolutely gorgeous. They have all these, um, this style of thatched roof is very similar to the buildings on the property where we're staying. And the women and a couple of men, like 3 men and 15 women, actually built every building on the property. I'll put a video out. The thing is, we don't have internet at home. Otherwise, I would just be walking around and, I would show you guys. But I'm going to have to make a separate video and then post it later. But yeah, so they built the property. They actually, they didn't know anything about the hospitality business. So they found someone from France, I believe it was, that flew over and kind of taught them how to deal with guests, and they've been super cordial. There are ponds, they're natural water. I guess lagoon would be probably closer to a better description. And there are fish. I can't remember the name of them at the moment, but they're like 6 feet long. They have this beautiful frilled kind of red fin on the top. And they are like dinosaur age, they've been in these waters for 136 million years. So Sinchi Warmi is the name of the eco lodge, and it's just a wonderful story of Kichwa women that in the face of misogyny and oppression persisted and succeeded in creating this community. And this morning, my partner Enrica, I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't join them, but they were actually able to go out with the Kichwa people and learn to cut there are many different types of palms here, and they're all, it's incredible how much the palm is able to sustain the people. As I said, there are many different types. One of them is cut down, and then it's allowed to sort of ferment and rot for 2 months, and then it's cut open, and there are these massive grubs that are actually delicious. They're related to shrimp, but the difference is that any waters that shrimp are living in the current age are dirty. They're polluted. So these are highly digestible protein, these larvae. Hello, brother, Brandon. And so the palms are cut down, and the chantacuros are harvested from the palms after 2 months. They also have fruits of all different kinds. There are like these purple nuts from one type of palm that they have a very tiny amount of meat inside, but it's very, very fatty, rich. It's kind of like avocado. And I'm sure it's excellent food for your brain. The palm hearts are roasted and eaten. And also chicha. I've gone totally native, you guys. I'm drinking bowls of spit and eating worms. Basically, the chicha is chewed either yucca or palm fruit that is then spit out and allowed to ferment for, I think, a week or so. And then you drink it. And honestly, even for an adventurous lunatic like myself, it was a bit much. Yeah, really, like a baby bird, totally. But it's not as bad with the yucca, because the alcohol content kind of assures you that it's all been fermented. But that was kind of crazy, and partly because it actually has the consistency of saliva. Like it you're very cognizant that it's like basically a bowl of spit, even though it's fermented, and it's totally safe and sanitary. The only thing that concerned me is that they're producing it in like tourist kind of quantities. So if they rush the process, I don't know that everything has been fermented to the degree that it should be. But um, yeah, so uh, but on the other hand, I have health issues that seem to have benefited substantially from consuming the chicha in a single day. Uh, Another interesting thing that happened today. There is a kid in the community that actually his family owns the local chicha stand, and he has the squirrel monkey that's always on his head. So he's like running around with a monkey on his head all the time. And I have never actually interacted with a monkey before, and it was something that I was really looking forward to coming to the Amazon. I have friends that sent me pictures of monkeys on their heads and stuff, and I thought like, wow, that's amazing to have a monkey on your head. So yesterday, down the street from the Eco Lodge where we're staying, and after the fact, I'll put a link to the Sinchi Warmi. So if you guys are interested, you can contact them um, and come and visit us. Uh, but down the street, there is a lagoon where these ancient paleo, uh, well, I don't know, ancient fucking fish that have been in the waters for 130 million years. Um, you can rent a canoe for $5 and float around. There were caimans, and we were fishing, and I think the guy was fucking with us. Honestly, he's like, I asked him what to use for bait, and he gave us plantains. And I'm thinking, fish that eat bananas. I mean, that seems kind of dumb. So I think maybe what he was actually thinking is that there's a lot of poverty here, and to have the gringos catching the fish from the lagoon, and I don't know, it just seemed like maybe a trick. But a monkey actually came down and was like dangling from a branch. I'm gonna post a video of it at some point, and it clearly wanted the plantains that were in the boat with us, and it was kind of freaking me out a little bit because they're wild monkeys. It's not like it's like tame, and it's like screaming at us and dangling and looking into the boat, trying to decide if it can drop that far without hurting itself. And so that was the first like close encounter. Actually, earlier in the day, we went to the park in the town, which is crazy too. The bridge, the one of the support lines broke, so it's like crooked, like leaning. So you have to take a canoe for 50 cents across the river in order to go to town, or cross the bridge that has a sign on it that says like danger of death, peligro de muerte. You can die crossing this bridge. It's bullshit. I think it's fine, but it is crooked. So you're like walking across this river 100 feet above it, on a crooked suspension bridge. But anyways, there were a bunch of monkeys in the park that were very aggressive, and one of them grabbed a bottle of water out of someone's hand and was like beating it into the ground, and that really became aware that how powerful and fast these monkeys are. Like slamming that bottle into the ground was like loud. So anyways, today I actually got to interact with the monkey. At lunch, after my partner went out and worked with them, cutting the palm for the thatches of the roof. I don't think I ever explained what was going on there. No, the monkeys aren't upset. Oh yeah, well the monkey was pissed because I think it knew there was water in the bottle and it couldn't figure out how to get it out. So it was like beating it against the ground, trying to get it to break so we could get the liquid out. But yeah, I mean, this is like a 20-pound monkey. It's a little squirrel monkey or something, and it's beating this bottle. And the volume, when it hit the ground, it was crack, crack. It's like, damn, man. I've heard that like a chimpanzee could actually slap your head right off your shoulders. And when I saw this monkey beating this water bottle into the ground, I believed it. Like this animal probably could knock your fucking head off. No, they're not aggressive. Um, I wouldn't I wouldn't like grab one, but if they run up on your head or something, you just kind of like relax and um, let them do whatever they're gonna do. Uh, so the funny story that I was getting to is this squirrel monkey that the Shuar, one of the local tribes, not local to China, but maybe 50 miles south, they actually eat monkeys. And so the story was that this woman and her child went into the jungle, um, and some Shuar family had captured this monkey, and they had it, with a collar and like a short lead, and they were feeding it because they were going to eat it. And so when they told the little Kichwa kid that they were going to eat the monkey, he started crying and he begged his mom, can we take the monkey home? And eventually she caved, and so that's why they have this monkey. And so it's not like super friendly to strangers. It's always on this kid's head. Like it'll jump off and run around, but it always like leaps back onto the kid's head. And as I said earlier, I wasn't really feeling well, and they had a minga today, which is where everyone from the community comes over, and they the thatch roofs will eventually mold and holes kind of wear in them, and so they have to repair them occasionally. For the most part, they'll last like 15 or 20 years, and so there's this like sort of short palm tree that's almost like a bush, and they'll cut leaves off of it, and then you stack them and ferment them actually, and so they make these stacks with like sticks stuck in the ground to hold them in place, and they're fermented rather than dried because nothing is going to dry here. And then the roofs are made from the palm tree, which, as I was saying earlier, it's what they make their alcoholic beverages from. There are several fruits that come from the palm trees. There are the palm hearts. There are the chantacuros, the grubs that are harvested from the palms. The palms are really central to the survival of the people here. There are many different varieties, and they're extremely important. Really incredible. I mean, I have had like maybe a dozen different fruits, almost maybe 10 for sure, fruits and nut sort of affairs from the various palms, and of course the chicha, made from either the fruit or the hearts. So what the hell are we talking about? Between the chicha and the wine, I'm a little bit out of sorts tonight. Oh, anyways, there are two types of chicha basically. The one made from the fruits, which is a chicha de chonta, and it doesn't really contain any alcohol. It's just sort of like a heavily fermented beverage served in a bowl. And the chicha de chonta is made from chicha de yucca is made from the root of the yucca plant, which is a very starchy tuber. And that one has got a lot of alcohol. So I was kind of annoyed that the monkey came to visit today. And when I tried to pet him, I mean, he did run up and like take a pitahaya, a cactus fruit, out of my hand. But hello, Kiki. But he wouldn't really let me pet him. And so later I went down to the chicha stand where he lives, and I guess he really likes the chicha. And so I had a bowl in my hand, and I'm drinking, and suddenly there's a squirrel monkey on my shoulder with his face planted in my chicha. And for a second I thought, is this sanitary that I have a monkey with his face buried in this bowl that I'm drinking from? And then I remembered, well, the chicha is basically spit. So yeah. So long story shortish, I just kind of wanted to touch base today and let you guys that follow this channel know what's going on, what we're doing. Um, it's been a rough week for crypto. I've been, um, yeah, drinking ayahuasca here. The Chicha Warmi property has some trails, some senderos, and I went walking around, and there's just massive ayahuasca vines growing all over the place. Um, what's the update? Well, the update is just like what we're doing, and drinking chicha and eating worms and playing with monkeys. Um, Hoping that the crypto market turns around. Of course it will. And it's funny. It's one thing to. Um, Thank you. I love you too. Um, Theory and practice. Because people told me before I actually got involved in the crypto, the volatility will make you want to pull your hair out. Um, and I was like, no problem, I can handle it. So the prediction was that as soon as the uh, stimulus hit in the United States, that everything would just blow up. And the reality is that that's not what's happening. And I'm still confident that it will, but it's been a bit of a surprise that when the stimulus hit and we put most of our money into crypto, and it's just been dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. Oh, we didn't. We weren't planning to live in Shell. We were just there temporarily, Fernando. Um, yeah, it was just like I hadn't been to Amazonas, and yeah, well, maybe when they do, they'll all buy crypto if they're smart. I mean, you guys know what I think about the blockchain technology in general. Um, it's the old world has to die. If it doesn't, we're all goners, basically. That's how I'm thinking about it, and it's true. It just can't continue the way that it has, and so patience, grasshopper. I don't know. Did we talk about everything? Like I said, I just wanted to check in. Yeah, yeah. Okay, check this out, you guys. In the description, I think I wrote something about um, a cult revelation soon to come. Um, I have gotten in a lot of trouble on YouTube, and I'm not really inclined to push my luck because it's an important source of income for us. Um, so. Um, there's a lot of stuff that I won't say, and um, because we have to survive, that stuff is said to my patrons, right? So, the not only am I going to reveal the ninth degree secret of the OTO, and describe why it's not what. Yeah, I know, Fernando, but you know what? I will write you an email because you're a special case, and I'll tell you what it is that I'm going to tell them. Um, and it is, for someone like me that's very sexually squeamish and timid, it's pretty gross. But I also recognize that for the average person, it's probably not really that crazy. Um, but I have a couple of levels of motivation. For one thing, I try to give my patrons an extra level of value, and also I think that the secret doctrine, that which is taught in the Masonic lodges and in the secret societies, the Hermetic societies, has a reputation that is the product of propaganda, and that it is actually good and empowering, and that's why everyone has been told that it is evil. And also, the Mr. Jesus and his people have contributed to that, in order to protect their own interests. And so, in the next live stream, secret stream, we're going to go into some depth about that. But I'll give you guys a little sampling as I sign out, because I just noticed that my partner has re-arrived with my son, and I gave her the key, so there must be something going on, and I need to attend to it. But this clue to the content that's coming in the secret stream is this. There is basically one law governing all systems, and it manifests as a multitude of laws, but it's really just one law. And so it's kind of like the Taoist, like, the student will ask the master a question, and the master will just drop a leaf in a pool of water and say, "Watch the leaf," and you'll have your answer. And the kid will stare at it, the student will stare at it for, however long it takes, and suddenly you'll have this revelation, right? So it could be anything, but in this case, yeah, that's part of the issue, Brandon. It's a very complex thing, but that's definitely a constituent part of the misconceptions. But what I'm saying in this particular case is that, and this applies largely to the United States, that when the accumulation of wealth happens solely in the interest of accumulation, the result is stagnation. And the persons that have facilitated that stagnation are the equivalent of the organisms in water that facilitate the stagnation. And the net result of their efforts is that there will be no life in that water. And this is basically it's kind of an oversimplification, but this is why the American Empire has become such a self-destructive, toxic, stagnant environment. For the secret streams, it's $10 a month. Yeah, I do have to go. I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. But even in death is the seed of life. In the Mestri tradition, we will still use expressions like the will of the Father, but it doesn't mean what it would mean in like a Christian context. It is just that impetus to creation, the drive of the positive impulse guided by intelligence and intuition, hopefully. So even in death, in putrefaction, the will of the Father is present to culminate in life to come, right? So that is the clue that I'm giving, that I'm leaving you with to the content of the next secret stream. Hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope that was interesting. It's been hella trippy. And I am, I didn't mention, I was lucky to tour an ethnobotanical garden with Chris Canaday, who is married to a Shuar woman. And the Shuar are very, very secretive about their knowledge of plants. This is something that all magical traditions actually have in common. Secrecy is not just something that Freemasons engage in. All magicians are admonished to be careful what you give away. And so he, being married to a Shuar woman, he has I guess, exclusive access to information about a lot of these jungle plants, and so we were actually able to walk through the jungle with him. And there were indigenous people present, but I thought it would be easier for this channel, given that it's in English, if we had someone that spoke English as our guide. So probably the next video that we will put out, you guys won't believe it. I mean, I was speaking about the food value and all of the uses of the palm tree for the indigenous people here in Amazonas. But that's not the end of the incredibleness of the palm tree. There are these walking palms here that kind of look like they're on stilts. They have, like, dozens of legs that are stuck into the ground. And there's one called I can't remember the Spanish, but it's basically the penis of the devil. And they are red legs that kind of terminate in like a hooded, it looks just like a penis, only it's red. So the devil's dick trees, and one that he showed us had walked, it had been measured, in 25 years it had walked 9 meters. So these trees are actually walking around the fucking jungle. So soon coming a video. I'll check back in with you guys in a couple of days. I'll see the rest of you in the secret stream, and good night.